What is going on, everybody? Welcome back here today to the Just Ballin' podcast. This is going to be episode 33, and this one is going to be a little bit of a different one. I did ask you guys on my second YouTube channel some questions you have for me. Any type of questions that you wanted me to answer for this podcast episode here in episode 33, because I haven't uploaded a pod here in about 2 weeks, just because obviously the NBA is kind of in its like driest point it's ever been, and we are going to get games back up in 20 days as I'm recording this on July 11th. You guys should be seeing this on July 12th. So there hasn't, like I said, been a lot of NBA news. So I thought I'll be doing like a podcast like this. This also could be the last podcast until the NBA season starts back up, unless I find stuff that I want to talk about. Maybe I'll do like a 2017 or 2016 redraft with my friend, or a 2016 redraft. Yeah, we could do that with my friend, because we've already done a 2017. Like, we could do something like that just to pass the time, definitely. So if you guys want that, let me know. But yeah, I did ask you guys on my second channel some questions you have for me. If you want to ask any for maybe the next pod, you can go here to my community tab, and that's where it is. But I'm going to try to go through a lot. There was 94 comments. I'm sure there's going to be some repetitive ones, so I'm not going to be answering all 94, but hopefully we can get a bunch done, and I'm just going to rattle them off. I will say who asked the comment and what they say if you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, because obviously you can't see the comment, but if you are watching on YouTube, you can kind of see me scrolling through the comments as well. So the first one is, we could just get right into this. Rahul talks the NFL and NBA. He asked 4 questions. The first one is, how many siblings do you have, if any? I have 2 younger sisters. What inspired you to start YouTube? Mainly, okay, so these are kind of non-basketball related, which is pretty cool, but basically watching guys like Blinkfro, Dread Silver Kid, it's Pronto, Lumberjack, those guys like doing 2K and Madden series, and I was like, wow, I do this for fun on my own time. I try to make it realistic, or I just try to do this like for fun, and I was like, why not? Why not try to actually get like a viewership off it? Just even if it's like 10 or 20 people watching and talking about it with me, I thought that'd be the coolest thing. I did this in 9th grade back in 2014. Averaged 30 views a video for my first year. I did a Texans franchise and a Jazz franchise, and it was really fun. I had a blast doing it, so that's kind of what inspired me to start. Did you play any sport in high school? If so, what position? I played football, and I also played cornerback. How come you support the Knicks and the Steelers? Knicks, or both are from my dad. My dad's from New York, so basically that's where the Knicks connection comes in. He kind of grew up watching in the 80s. So they were okay back then, but obviously like they were really good in the 90s, and then and also the 70s, so he kind of missed out on that, but he obviously watched it in the 90s as well. But the Steelers, his dad, so my grandpa, he wasn't a big football fan, so it wasn't really like, oh, my dad's gonna pick the Steelers or the Giants, or the Jets or the Giants in New York. And the Steelers were really good in the 70s, kind of when my dad was like very young, so I guess you could say he also watched the Knicks back then as well. So yeah, that's when they had Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan, and he was like, all right, I really like this team, I'm gonna be a Steelers fan, and that's how I became a Steelers fan. Both of these are pretty much from my dad, but I kind of messed up because my dad's a Yankees fan and I'm a Mets fan, so I kind of wish I stuck with him on that. So that is Rahul. Next one is Austin Lombardi. Are you high on the foreign prospects, of this year's class? Parentheses, Open Hayes, Avdia, Pukovetsky, etc. So I'm very high on Killian Hayes. He's in my top 6 in my big board. Denny Avdia is probably my next highest guy if you're talking about strict foreign player, not if they played in a foreign league. He's going to be, I think, mainly towards 10. I think he's going to be in the 8 to 12 range. I haven't figured out my full big board yet. I'm going to come out with that, but he's going to be around that range. Pukozevsky, I actually did watch a game of his the other day, and I did like what I saw from him. He's not going to be much on the defensive end, but he could definitely be a good offensive player in the NBA. I would see him more in like the mid to late lottery. No, mid to late teens, I would say. Probably on my big board if we're going to get to that. And then I guess Theo Maledon is going to be... He'll probably be in the 20s. I think that's where I'm coming around on him. Maybe late teens, but yeah, probably early to mid 20s. And those are probably the top guys that I think are going to be the foreign selections in this draft. It's a big foreign class, and I got those guys. Hayes is definitely the top of my board. I'm high on Killian Hayes. Waffleman X, who is the most interesting prospect in this year's class? I think it's Kyron Lewis from Alabama, point guard, sophomore. He had a really good sophomore year. He's kind of remind you a little bit of guys like John Wall and Russell Westbrook when he can dribble in the half court and the full court in transition. I think he's a very hit or miss prospect because I really think it depends what team he gets drafted to. If it's like a running gun team like the Pelicans, I think that could be great for him. But if it's like a team I'm trying to think like the Spurs, where you got to slow it down. He's in a crowded backcourt. I wouldn't like that as much. But I guess obviously he'd be coached by one of the better player development staffs in the NBA. But I think Kyra Lewis is the most interesting prospect because I think he has potential to be a top 2 point guard in this class. I think he can, but I think there's also a chance where he can not even be a top 5 point guard. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. Aiden Levasseur, sorry if I butchered your last name, says, did you play high school ball? If so, what was your position? Never played for my high school team. I was a point guard. I was very small, and I was really passionate about playing basketball up till about like 10th grade. And then I was kind of more like, I don't know. I was more passionate about like YouTube and like talking about the NBA than rather playing it. Like I would still play with my friends, but I was never like working with trainers or doing camps anymore. Like I played like at like my CYO church league and like summer leagues with my friends, but I never played school ball at the high school level. Top 10 most underrated players that are current. Jalen Brunson X. I don't think this is the real Jalen Brunson. I wouldn't give you my top 10 just because that will take a minute and I would have to construct a top 10 list, but I can go off the top of my head kind of who I think is underrated in the NBA. I think Russell Westbrook was underrated this season. I wasn't high on him up until the All-Star game. I thought Devin Booker deserved it over him at that point, but I think he's been a top 12 player in the league this year, and I don't know if people have really come around on that, but I would say from like this year, even you could say Jalen Brunson is pretty underrated. I like Mikal Bridges' defense a lot. I think he's underrated on that side of the ball. I would even say Frank Ntilikina is a little bit, no, I wouldn't say he's underrated on the defensive side. I feel like people kind of know where his defense is at. I would honestly say Jonathan Isaac could be a little bit underrated as well. I think if he didn't get hurt, he was going to be like an all-defensive first or second team member. And I feel like people don't talk about him really when you talk about like your top 25, under 25 too much. And then I feel like I can have like a more constructed list. Maybe Wendell Carter Jr., maybe Larry Markkinen has become underrated because he was pretty bad this year. And I don't know. So I think I would need more time to construct a top 10 most current underrated players, but those are some off the top of my head. I was always an advocate for Tobias Harris being an underrated player back when he was with the Detroit Pistons. Fisher X, who was your biggest inspiration to start your career? I kind of talked about that before. Guys like Blinkfro, Jet Silverkid, Lumberjack, It's Prano. Jay Curry X, is Russell Westbrook already an all-time great after averaging a triple-double for 3 consecutive seasons? Many consider Oscar Robertson the top 5 all-time, but he only did it for 1 season. I think Russell Westbrook will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If that makes you an all-time great, then yeah. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 point guard of all time. I just don't think he's ever going to pass Curry. And then you have guys like Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas. But if Russell Westbrook wins a championship this year, then he can be considered as a top 5 point guard of all time. But I don't know if he will ever hit that in the point guard kind of category. T-Bucks X, are we ever going to get another in real life basketball video? I would like to. I would definitely like to. You know what? I'll try to get around to it. I definitely think it would be funny to see me play basketball. Who's your favorite Knicks player of all time? Ryan Santobrino X. It's tough. I have a couple. It's probably when I was very young, it was Nate Robinson, just because he was like small and I was small, and he hit a game winner against the Sixers in my first Knicks game ever back in like 2006. Then I started to come around liking David Lee a lot. And because my dad really liked David Lee, and he was a guy that hustled, put in 110% every night, even though the Knicks were losing, he was always trying so hard. And then it became Carmelo Anthony because he was kind of the heart and soul of the Knicks throughout the 2010s. So I would say those are my 3 favorite players, my 3 favorite Knicks of all time. I would probably say Melo. Melo will take the crown on that one. So moving on, Royal Rataj asks, who should the Bulls hire as a head coach? And what are your thoughts on the female assistant coach for the Spurs becoming the Bulls head coach? I think Becky Hammon could definitely be a very good coach. I think she could be a better head coach than Jim Boylan. I wouldn't say she was my top choice for the Bulls. I think that would be Kenny Atkinson because we saw what he did with the player development in Brooklyn with guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, D'Angelo Russell, and I think that would be fantastic for guys like Kobe White, Lauri Markkinen, Wendell Carter Jr., their top 10 pick this year, and then maybe even Zach LaVine. So I think they should really go all in on Kenny Atkinson. I think that should be their guy, and if not, maybe you could look at Becky Hammon. Definitely, I wouldn't be like too fond about like, I don't know. I think I would be targeting either. I think Kenny Atkinson should be their guy, and I think they should go all in on Kenny Atkinson if they were to fire Jim Boylan. CLS Dorsky X, would you ever react to Flight? I'd personally love to see what you think of him. I think so. You can link me some videos on YouTube or Twitter if you want me to. Chris Caulfield X, who is the point guard and power forward for the Suns, realistic or fantasy? So I guess for the future that could fit that team. Now, point guard, I think I would really like to see Cole Anthony or Killian Hayes there. drafting wise, or even Kyra Lewis here in the draft, because they're going to have around probably the 10th, 11th pick, depending where they end up at the end of the Orlando bubble after the 9 games they play. Power forward, I do like. I do like Aaron Gordon as a fit for that team, or Lauri Markkanen, or John Collins. One of those three I think would be a really nice fit next to DeAndre Ayton, because I think that's what matters. I think you'd rather find somebody that could fit with DeAndre Ayton than could fit with Kelly Oubre. Steven 2X, what is your best rebuild ever? I guess it has to be my 11 or 1190 overalls that we did about a month ago, probably. Eddie Slavinax, what is your biggest fear, and who do you want the Knicks to draft? I guess biggest fear, I don't know, uncertainty, maybe? I don't know. I also really hate, like, animals under the sea. I don't know why, but they freak me out in snakes as well. And then he asks, who do you want the Knicks to draft? I want the Knicks to draft LaMelo Ball. I think that's the only guy I really want the Knicks to draft, because if not, then I would really like, I guess, Killian Hayes or Cole Anthony. I think they should definitely take a point guard. I don't really like Obi Toppin. I don't think Anthony Edwards would be a nice fit with RJ Barrett either, so I think LaMelo Ball should be the guy there. He'll be big in New York. I think he can actually play well with RJ Barrett, and I think they'll be able to be nice complementary pieces together. Jack Plays X, if you had to start an NBA team, what player would you start it with, and how would you build around that player? Interesting question. I think it's going to be Luka Doncic. I think because he's so versatile, and he's a guy that can have the ball in his hands 100%. He can be your highest usage guy on your team, and you can kind of build around him without, honestly, stars. Like, yeah, you can get that second guy, kind of like how Kristaps Porzingis is to him, but you can really just get good shooters and defenders around him, and I think you're really going to have a playoff team right away. I think he can thrive your team to the playoffs, and he's also incredibly young. He's, 20? I think he's 20 years old, and he's going to be top 5 in MVP voting this year, and I think he'd be kind of my pick. He's durable so far. He hasn't really been hurt too much. Anything that's been, like, all right, nagging him, yeah, there's been the freak, like, ankle rolls, but I think it's going to be Luka Doncic, and you would want to build around him with shooters, good defenders, and maybe that secondary ball handler or scorer. Either it's, like, more of a point guard type guy, or it's, like, a big that can just kind of space the floor and score, kind of how, like, Kristaps says. What's your favorite kind of cheese? The Brony X? Probably cheddar. Jay Curry, why Ja Morant is the best in this class? Kind of worded that weirdly, but I'm guessing he's like, why is Ja Morant the best in the 2019 class? I still think that's up for debate. I think we need like a full season from Zion to kind of make a case on that. Ethan Santos asks, how did you meet your girlfriend at school? Ninja of Doom, here's a question. What do you think of the young bull, Colin Sexton? I like Colin Sexton, but I don't really know what I think about him on maybe like a good team in the NBA. Yeah, he's been a good scorer on one of the worst teams in the NBA. What position is he also? Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? Can he have the ball in his hands, or is he better off ball? It's weird because he kind of plays as a point guard, or at least that's what we think of him, but he's not really a great passer, and he's not like the best playmaker in the world, so maybe he's more of a shooting guard, but he's also undersized for that, and his defense isn't kind of spectacular enough to guard those taller, stronger twos. So I think we need to see him kind of maybe with a full season of Darius Garland. I'm hoping JB Bickerstaff can be a good coach for those two, and I think we're going to need another year of Colin Sexton, hopefully with just some certainty there. Like, we're going to know Garland's going to be the one. Hopefully he's going to be the 2. There's going to be no coaching change. And hopefully there's just not going to be a lot of volatility there in Cleveland. Clutch Falcon 4X, what is your favorite NBA player of all time? Steve Nash, because I grew up kind of loving to be that passing point guard playmaker who can kind of shoot a little bit, and that was basically what Steve Nash was. And he wasn't like cocky either. He was a great teammate. He was a great person, and I just loved him. I loved watching him in Phoenix and a little bit of Dallas. So Silastorsky X, favorite athletes currently in each professional sport. Basketball, it's probably Luka Doncic. Football, it's I would say it's TJ Watt. I do like TJ Watt a lot. Maybe it's because more of like my Steelers fan. It was always kind of Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell, and then both left the Steelers in their own ways. Baseball, I do like Pete Alonso, but I'm going to go with Mike Trout. I do like Mike Trout a lot, and I'm a Mets fan, sadly, but hopefully they'll be okay this year. And then hockey, I don't really watch a lot of hockey anymore. I used to really like Steven Stamkos and Alexander Ovechkin when I did. And then I guess soccer, I don't really watch much soccer anymore, but I was always a Messi over Ronaldo person when I did back in like FIFA 14. That's when I was huge in it. But yeah, I guess my favorite football player, that's when I was kind of debating a little bit. I don't know. I did really like, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be Mika Fitzpatrick. I do like Joe Hayden a lot. But yeah, maybe there's some of those guys. And I do like Juju as well. Mexican Venom 23X. Will the Knicks ever be good again? But seriously though, will they? Yeah, they'll be good again. When? if they play their cards right, they don't do anything dumb, they could be a playoff team by 2022. I think you have one more bad year next year. Maybe you can make the playoffs as a lower seed in 2022, depending on how good LaMelo Ball does. Wow, I did not mean to say that. If they were to draft LaMelo Ball, how well he plays with them, or if they draft Killian Hayes, I worded that completely wrong. Like they're actually getting LaMelo Ball, because it's not going to happen, because it's like Zion all over again. But it's a different draft, yes, but I don't know. And then it also depends on who they get in 2021. Either it's Cade Cunningham, Jalen Johnson, Jonathan Kuminga, any one of those guys, depending on where they end up. So I think it really matters on who they draft here and how they can construct this team, because I think they can do a really good job here. I think they can have RJ Barrett at the 1, at the 2, Mitchell Robinson at the 5. You have those two guys right there. And then you got to kind of get this point guard. I think it's either Killian Hayes or it's LaMelo Ball, say that's the point guard, or Cole Anthony. And then you can add a wing like a Jonathan Kuminga or Jalen Johnson or Jalen Green in 2021. And then I think you have your nice core for 2022. Francisco Rabinata, did Chris Paul deserve the MVP, and did D-Rose deserve his MVP over LeBron James? And then, is Kevin Knox a bust? Also, maybe he's a little mosey. Kevin Knox is looking like he's towards that B word. Can't say it yet because this was only his second year. You kind of want to figure it out after 3 years or at the end of their contracts, their rookie contracts. So I'm not going to say he's a bust yet. And then, did Chris Paul deserve the MVP? I'm not sure what year he's talking about. And then, did D-Rose deserve the MVP over LeBron? I think D-Rose was deserving, just because I don't even think LeBron was a consensus MVP pick that year either. It was either like LeBron, it was Rose, it was Howard, it was Wade. So when it's like 4 different guys there, I think it's okay giving it to the guy that ended up winning. Cronut X, who do you think are the biggest sleepers in this upcoming draft? I do like Paul Reed a lot. I like Isaiah Joe. I like Peyton Pritchard. I would say those 3 guys, but once we get kind of towards the combine and where the lottery is going to end up, we'll kind of know who's not going to go in the lottery and what teams are going to do and if any trades happen. So I will give probably a video on that, maybe my top 10 biggest sleepers on the main channel. I think that'd be a fun video. Edison Palumbi X, what are your thoughts on Steph's resume if he doesn't reach another finals? I feel like he would be a little overrated as his finals go, as he can never beat a healthy Cavs team without KD. Yes, I guess you can say that, but are you going to hurt his finals loss against the Raptors for losing Clay and KD throughout that series? I'm just saying, it's got to go both ways. I think he's going to be a top 3 point guard of all time when he retires. I think he'll be ahead of John Stockton due to the rings and the MVPs. I don't think he'll be ahead of Magic Johnson, and I think he's going to be ahead of Isaiah Thomas, maybe Oscar Robinson. He won't be, but I think he'll be top 3. I think personally he'll be 2. I don't think he'll pass Magic Johnson, but he'll be the second best point guard of all time. Tower 2Backs, what do you think makes LaMelo, Wiseman, and Edwards so good in their own way? Like LaMelo's height and his incredible ball handling. Yeah, so I guess we can talk about LaMelo. I think it's his ball handling and playmaking. He's a great passer. He has really good vision. He plays like he's 25 and he's 18 years old. He obviously wasn't a great shooter in the NBL this year, but at least he has the confidence in that, and I think that's what makes him, or that will make him, a good NBA player, because you need the confidence. You need to, when an NBA player that's 19, 18 on the big stage in the NBA, they can start off a game 0-for-5, they can get shook, and they might never want to shoot it again in the game, but I think LaMelo, his confidence makes him great. I think Wiseman's versatility for a big man, he can run the floor, amazing for someone that's 7 foot tall. And I think Anthony Edwards, his defensive potential, I think he could be a very good defender, and he could be a very good shooter in the NBA. So I think those are kind of what makes each player so great. Luke Ray says, how did you become an amazing content creator? Thank you for that. Sir Dumb X, 5 players you think could win most improved player next year. I don't know. Next year, I guess we would have to see kind of who the coaches are the team, where they're going to be in the lineup. I'm not sure. Maybe it could be somebody like Lowry Markkanen, but I think for this year, you'll have your Jason Tatum, you'll have your Brendan Ingram, your Devontae Graham, your Bam Adebayo. I think that could be your top 4. Who is the GOAT in your eyes, and why? Alex Grashoff X. Michael Jordan is my GOAT. Now, I think LeBron is one centimeter behind him, but I think the 6-0 in the finals helps a lot, and winning all 6 finals MVPs, and that, I think that's just something that's just incredible. It's incredible. And yes, you might say, it's better to go to the finals than lose in the first round. Yes, but I just think going 6-0 in the finals is crazy, and I don't think anybody can ever do that again and be the top guy. Obviously Scottie Pippen went 6-0, but I think that's kind of what puts him over LeBron, because obviously those are the only 2 notable debates. I don't think Bill Russell or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can be in that, especially in that era too. Because Bill Russell won 11 championships, but I don't know. I just think also what Jordan did was just incredible. And he really brought kind of that city of Chicago back to actually a noticeable city like in the NBA. Daniil X, what do you think about Bogey and his future? And then do a reaction. He was 123 points in 4 games in the 2014 Serbian playoffs. I gotta watch that. I definitely gotta watch that. But I think Bogey, I think he's somebody that maybe he's like waiting to break out, but I don't know if that will happen in Sacramento. Maybe if they were to move on from Buddy Hield, possibly. But I think he's somebody that would thrive in a bigger role. Not like how James Harden left OKC back in 2012, 2013. But I think if he was able to get like 15 to 17 shots a night, and kind of the offense is more centered around him, I would really like to see that. And I don't know if Luke Walton could be his coach, but I think it really depends on where his fit is for the future. Luke Adraga X, who do you think is the best chance to win the World Series this year? It's probably the Dodgers due to just the NL. But I guess Dodgers, Yankees, Astros, Braves all have a really good shot at winning it. And it's a lot of parity in baseball, so it's really hard to predict who wins the World Series, because everybody last year probably either predicted the Astros or the Dodgers, and it was the Nationals, which nobody predicted. So I think that's what makes baseball a great sport. Do you think the 2019 draft class, excluding Zion and Ja, in general was bad/weak? I think it was disappointing this season. Yes, guys like Jackson Hayes, DeAndre Hunter disappointed a little bit, Darius Garland, even RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish. There's a lot of guys that definitely disappointed this year, but it's just their rookie years. You cannot judge that just off the year one. So we'll see if it's going to be a disappointment. We'll have to see. We'll make that take in 2023. Random plays X. Who do you think is making it out of the East and West this year? I'm still going with my kind of picks. My preseason picks was Sixers and Clippers, and then I kind of changed it around Christmas time. So I'm going with Bucks and Clippers still. And I think it's going to be huge for the Clippers now that there will be no fans when they play the Lakers. So not every game will be kind of a Lakers home game. Trenton Anderson X, who is your favorite player all time to watch and just overall player? Probably it's Steve Nash for both of those. I really liked Rondo on the Celtics. Just his passing was incredible. I like Jason Kidd a lot. I like Chris Paul. And I think Luka Doncic is just kind of turning into one of my favorite players in the NBA. So it's still Steve Nash for that. Farhan Muhammad X, which point guards do you think the Knicks will take if LaMelo is gone? And who do you want the Knicks to take? So I want the Knicks to take LaMelo, but if LaMelo is gone, I think the Knicks should and hopefully will target Killian Hayes or Cole Anthony. Maybe RJ Hampton, maybe Kyra Lewis. But I would really like to target either Killian Hayes or Cole Anthony. I'm higher on Cole Anthony than some other people. Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know if he would fit well with RJ Barrett. Best way to get recognized in sports, I guess just putting out quality content. Either if it's your writing, make sure it's just kind of perfect. If it's like YouTube videos, make sure your camera quality is perfect, your mic quality is perfect, your content's really good, you sound good and like you know what you're talking about. And then I guess just meeting people. Or I guess that's the kind of the way if you're trying to ask. Just networking. So Ashton Phoenix X, how did you start doing rebuilds? Because rebuilds weren't popular back in the day. I watched CSB do one back in 2K14 when I was like, I think this would be fun. And he didn't post one for a couple months. He posted, I feel like it was like a Celtics and a Pacers one maybe. And then he didn't post one for like 4 or something months. And then I'm like, oh, I can maybe kind of take this. I don't know. I can kind of take this and run with it, and I did, and that's kind of how I got big because nobody else was doing it, but I did get the idea pretty much from CSB, and I thought it was super cool. And he says, would you say you were born rich? Definitely not. Cooper Day X, what inspired the name Just Ballin'? I don't know. It just came to me one day. I really didn't have a thought process behind it. I was like, oh, you're just balling, like basketball. Pablo Nisel X, what are the next steps for SROS and YouTube and in general? The next steps, I guess YouTube, I'm doing my team in 2K21. I really want to, and I think I'm going to do that. I still want to kind of just grow and just kind of keep doing what I'm doing and having fun with it and kind of just making NBA content. I still love that. And then in general, like, I graduate college this year. I'll be a senior. Hopefully working. I do have a finance internship right now that I really enjoy, and then hopefully I'll be able to do that with YouTube once I graduate. So that is the plan at the moment. Donovan Wex X, who do you think the Knicks should hire as the next head coach? Kenny Atkinson, but it's looking like it might be Tom Thibodeau. Do you like the trade of Gordon Hayward, Carson Edwards, and a future first for Miles Turner and Jeremy Lamb? And then who is your top 5 all time? I like that trade for Boston, yeah, but I don't think Indiana would do that. And then who's your top 5 all time? Probably 1 Jordan, 2 LeBron, 3 Kareem, 4 Magic, 5 Bill Russell, in my opinion. BB Ball X, would you ever consider vlogging? Nah, I mean, I tried it a couple years ago. It's just not for me. I think I'm more just like talking about the NBA. Liam Nantex, do your top 30 best players from each position all time. Yeah, I don't plan on talking for the next hour, so I'm gonna have to skip your question. I apologize. I'm gonna ask or answer a couple more questions. So Nixter X, why did you choose to attend Temple? I really liked that it was a big business school in a city. It had sport teams around them. Temple was semi-big in sports. Like, they're not the biggest football basketball school, but they are semi-big there. And I kind of really wanted to live in a city or just outside a city, so that's kind of why I chose to attend Temple. Can you explain more about your internship and your future career plans? Yeah, so I got a finance internship. I'm not gonna say what company. If you probably go on my LinkedIn though, you could see it. But yeah, I really enjoyed, and I would hope to work there full time after I graduate. And then I do plan on just still doing YouTube as long as I'm still having fun with it and I still have time to do with it. And then he goes, how do you manage your time well, specifically managing 2 channels and taking a large course load this past spring? Appreciate your time, Matt. Not sleeping a lot, but also just kind of not having a lot of downtime. Like, I didn't really have a lot of downtime to play video games or watch YouTube videos, like, and just like kind of kill time. I was never bored. So yeah, wake up early, go to bed late, and then you'll have time to do most of the stuff. And then you're gonna have to have some sacrifices here and there. Michael Allen X, who are your favorite creators on YouTube, and are you good at playing ball in real life? He also says, coming from a fan who follows you since the 2K16 days, it's been fun to watch you grow on the platform, and I hope that you can continue to grow in the future. I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you. But I would say that I watch on YouTube right now. I do like Thinking Basketball. I would say I like, I don't know. I don't watch, like, I go through phases on stuff. Like, sometimes I'll go through like Marvel and I'll watch a bunch of that on YouTube. I will go through like Nazi zombies. I'll go through like WWE, and I'll just like watch a bunch of videos that either give me nostalgia or are just what I'm interested in, or I'll watch like, I don't know, like I've been like kind of getting into like not politics, but kind of learning about the history of like America. I don't know. I just like watch random stuff on YouTube. I wouldn't say I have like crazy big favorite creators that I watch. I'm trying to think like on a daily basis, who do I watch? I don't know. It's probably just whoever I'm watching at that time in that specific like random topic that I go through a phase in and watching YouTube. Or sometimes it's Star Wars, or sometimes it's MLB The Show rebuilds. I don't know. It's different every couple months. And I wouldn't say I'm like good. Like, so if you want to put good, like you can maybe play in the G League. Yeah, nowhere near that. And if you're saying like you're good, you'd be a really good high school player. Nowhere near that. I just like, I feel like I play smart, but I'm not like crazy athletic or a great shooter or super strong. So I wouldn't consider myself good. So let's see. Any more questions that I feel like kind of are? I'll answer a couple more non-basketball questions here. I think this is an interesting one now, even though it's probably NBA related. Waffleman X, what was your worst wrong prediction? I'm guessing he can talk about like NBA draft. I was very high on Emmanuel Mudiay back in 2015, and I was pretty high on Mo Bamba in 2018. So those were probably my really bad ones. And then, yeah, honestly, that might wrap up the questions. I definitely plan on doing like a live stream or something like that, either on Twitch or YouTube, where I could do like a really long Q&A, and then I'll just answer a bunch of questions. So I did answer like 75 plus questions. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question. I really hope I did. But yeah, I think this will be a nice kind of filler podcast episode. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're on YouTube, drop a thumbs up or let me know in the comments what you guys thought about any of the stuff I answered. And then if you could drop a follow button or a rating or review on Apple Pod and Spotify, I would really appreciate that. So yeah, this will probably be maybe the last pod until the NBA season starts back up. Maybe before the NBA season starts back up, I might do a redraft with my friend, because I did really enjoy doing that with Christian. Maybe I'll have him on to do that, or maybe I'll hit up like Massa or somebody like that, and if they want to come on the pod, they definitely could. I would appreciate that, and I can hop on their pod. I can definitely work that out, so you can let me know in the comments on YouTube if you want to see something like that. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Like always though, I really appreciate that. Sorry if this wasn't more interesting to you, since we didn't really have one specific NBA topic, but either way, I appreciate you listening this through. Thank you all for coming out. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.